The term of judges of International Court of Justice is option A 3 years, option B 5 years, option C 6 years, or option D 9 years. The correct answer is option D 9 years. Two-bar doctrine is related to option A the recognition of a state, option B the recognition of a government, option C the recognition of insurgents, option D none of these. The correct answer is option B the recognition of a government. Who is called the father of international law? Is it A Hago Grotius? Is it B Oppenheim? Is it C Soares? Or is it D none of these? The correct answer is option A Hago Grotius. The Alabama claims arbitration case was decided in option A 1872, option B 1854, option C 1890, or option D none of these. The correct answer is option A 1872. Combo clause means a state can intervene on behalf of its nationals. Option B, a state cannot intervene on behalf of its nationals. Option C, an alien agrees not to seek the diplomatic protection of his own state. Or option D, none of these. The correct answer is option A state can intervene on behalf of its national. Diplomatic relations are established by option A mutual consents, option B a unilateral decision, option C a decision of a regional organization, or option D none of these. The correct answer is option A mutual consent. Foreign ships sailing and anchoring in the coastal waters of another states are, is it option A subject to the law of flag state? Is it option B subject to the law of coastal state? Option C subject to the law of both the states? Or is it option D none of these? The correct answer is option C subject to the law of both the states. Piracy is an offense within the jurisdiction of the option A flag state, option B offenders state, option C all the states, or is it option D none of these? The correct answer is option C all the states. Non-permanent members of the Security Council are elected for a period of, is it option A 7 years, or option B 3 years, or option C 2 years, or option D none of these? The correct answer is option C 2 years. The Montreal Convention for the Safety of Civil Aviation was signed in, is it option A 1975, option B 1974, option C 1971, or is it option D none of these? The correct answer is option C 1971. Diplomatic staff enjoys complete immunity from, is it option A civil jurisdiction, option B criminal jurisdiction, option C both, or option D none of these? The correct answer is option C both. Number of judges of international courts of justice is option A 9, option B 12, option C 15, or is it option D none of these? The correct answer is option C 15. Permanent Code of International Justice was established under? Is it option A, League of Nations, option B, United Nations Organization, option C, European Union, or is it option D, none of these? The correct answer is option A, League of Nations. Pacta sunt servanda means option A, treaties between states are to be respected, option B, an unwanted person, option C, international law must be honored, option D, none of these. The correct answer is option A, treaties between states are to be respected. Headquarters of International Court of Justice is in? Is it option A, The Hague, option B, Geneva, option C, New York, or is it option D, none of these? The correct answer is option B, Geneva. Much of international law is derived through analogy from? Is it option A, Islamic law, or option B, Christian law, or is it option C, Roman law, or option D, none of these? The correct answer is option C, Roman law. Recognition of a new state is a matter of? Is it option A, international law, option B, constitutional law, or option C, policy of the state, or is it option D, none of these? The correct answer is option C, policy of the state. Principle of double criminality means that? Option A, the person who is being extradited must be tried in both the states. Option B, the person who is being extradited must be tried in both the states but may be punished in one. Or is it option C, that the offense for which a person is extradited must be an offense in both the states? Or is it option C, none of these? The correct answer is option C, that the offense for which a person is extradited must be an offense in both the states. Universal Declaration of Human Rights was passed in? Is it option A, Chicago, option B, London, option C, Berlin, option D, none of these? The correct answer is Universal Declaration of Human Rights was passed in Paris, 1948. The jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice, is it option A, is binding on all the members of United Nations Organization, B, is not binding on all the members of UNO, is it option C, is binding only upon the members of the Security Council, or option D, none of these? The correct answer is the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice is not binding on all the members of the United Nations Organization, option B. Convention on the Law of the Sea was signed in Jamaica in? Is it option A, 1948, option B, 1975, option C, 1982, or is it option D, none of these? The correct answer is option C, 1982. Statutes of International Courts of Justice were drawn up by? Is it option A, London Declaration in 1941? Is it option B, Moscow and Tehran Conference in 1943? Is it option C, San Francisco Conference in 1945? Or is it option D, none of these? The correct answer is option C, San Francisco Conference in 1945. International law is not true law but a positive international morality set by, is it option A, John Austin, option B, Oppenheim, option C, Hegel, or is it option D, none of these? The correct answer is option A, John Austin. The term international law was first coined by, is it option A, Hugo Grotius, is it option B, Jeremy Bentham, is it option C, Hegel, or is it option D, none of these? The correct answer is option B, Jeremy Bentham. Subjects of international law are, is it option A, states, option B, individuals, option C, both, or is it option D, none of these? The correct answer is option C, both. Judges of the ICJ are, option A, elected by the Security Council, option B, elected by the General Assembly and Security Council, option C, appointed by the Secretary General in consultation with the 5 permanent members of the Security Council, or option D, none of these. The correct answer is option B, elected by General Assembly and the Security Council. The international law was earlier known as, option A, transactional law, option B, interstate law, option C, law of nation, or option D, transitional law. The correct answer is option C, law of nation. Colvo clause and Drago doctrine are the result of, option A, the decisions of ICJ, option B, writing of jurists, option C, state judicial decisions, option D, none of the above. The correct answer is option B, writing of jurists. Article 38(1)(b) of the Statute of ICJ recognizes blank as a source of international law. Is it option A, decisions, option B, customs, option C, treaties, or option D, conventions? The correct answer is option B, customs. Customary rules of international law are developed from the following sources. Option A, diplomatic relations between states. Option B, practice of international organs. Option C, treaties between states. Or option D, all of these. The correct answer is option D, all of these. Articles of UN Charter are, option A, 115, option B, 111, option C, 120, option D, none of these. The correct answer is option B, 111. Which articles of the statutes of ICJ deals with the sources of international law? Is it option A, 36, option B, 40, option C, 38, or option D, none of these? The correct answer is option C, 38. Permanent Court of International Justice was established in, option A, 1919, option B, 1922, option C, 1915, or option D, none of these? The correct answer is option B, 1922.